Okay, so we said first thing was creating a different grip position, making sure that left wrist is on top, and also being a lot looser with the grip. Okay, if we grip the club really tight, forearms, shoulders, muscles all get locked and tight, they're not going to move as fluidly or create as much speed. Okay, so you can see on the left hand side here, as we're talking about the sort of shaft angle there, and we've got the swing plane line there. That's when the club's about to go back. Just check. So because previously you were going very, very upright, the club was always going to be coming down. Very tough to rotate the club face or square the club face up from that position. Okay, and because you were coming down across the ball, as we said, like in some ways, because your golf ball was generally sort of doing that sort of motion, you did whatever you possibly could to try and send it somewhere to the left-hand side of the golf course. So just hit the ball anti-right, which is what you intended to do. Every now and then you catch the heel of the club, or the middle part of the club would square up, and it might go straight left. But obviously then it's more often not going right. Exactly.
It's the same shot. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So what we're trying to do now, as we can see on this one, we get the sort of same sort of lines there. Let's get that sensation. We're swinging the club now underneath that green line, and we can see at the top of the backswing a much different position. In some ways a little bit lower, but I mean I'd rather see yourself from here, getting the club here. We clear those lines, just look at those two positions there, the club's gone back. I mean that's chalk and cheese. This one's probably a little bit too low, but the fact you've ever gone too far, you can find a sort of middle ground now, you'll be okay.
It certainly felt better.
Yeah, I mean the shot, I mean you get a draw, it's the first time you get a draw for a long while. Okay, so now the information as the club comes back in with a square club face, that club now is attacking from the inside, whereas before we were attacking, I'll go back a frame, we were attacking from the outside. You can see the club going from out to in. Your arms are a lot more into your body, coming in from a much more direct angle, hitting the ball now this way, as opposed to previously you were sort of cutting the ball off that way. So it's a more direct hit, which therefore gives you more power. We've got a square club face now to the path, again a more powerful shot, a looser grip position, which creates more speed, and the ball flying straighter rather than curving in the air. From A to B, it's going to fly further, isn't it? A ball flying 200 yards but curving in the air is probably about 170 from A to B. But a ball flying straighter,
laws of physics,
lands on the fairway, it's going to run a lot further. All I would say now is because instinct still takes over, you're a bit on your back foot. Now I would say possibly a bit of practice, maybe sort of 2 or 3 weeks down the line, maybe sort of check it. We can look at seeing how that body's going to start moving better.
Swing thought did that move left knee,
move that, exactly, But it's very difficult to do that when the golf ball's going way right. As I said, if your lower half worked better with your old swing, it would just go sideways right, because you wouldn't have the club face square. So you had to adjust the club face first. Once the club face was now adjusted with that grip and the swing plane, we can then start moving the body better. But if you just started transferring your weight with that original position, the club would be so far open, it would be going back behind you nearly. So
someone's really bad,
your kind of swing was evolving from what it was getting. The ball was spinning to the right there, so you did whatever you could in your sort of sporting background. I say cricket-wise, if the fielders are all on this side of the centre line, they said it's somewhere over there, and that's kind of where it started there. But unfortunately, with the spin of the ball, it was ended up going to the right. So
which doesn't happen with a cricket ball.
Exactly. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Have a couple more then.
My back looks a bit hunched. My
head looks. It's fine. You get that.
Do anything to try and straighten my shoulders?
I wouldn't try and straighten your shoulders back. I mean, obviously the speed, because your body's not rotating, because the lower half now is sort of staying quite flat, your hips are going to have to come forward. With the hips sort of go, if I clear some lines, with the hips going this way, the spine will then go up and your head, it's always going to create that sort of tucked up. In an ideal world, the hips would stay back and therefore your spine angle would stay straighter, but I wouldn't worry about that yet, because if you get too many things in one go, the goal swing is about 2 seconds long there, Stephen. So any more thought is going to just really confuse you straight away. So I think the focus is to be on that looser grip pressure and that left wrist on top, and then the thought of the swing plane now being more around, that's all. So we can get that, the ball will fly straighter.